Hello and welcome. So in this video I wanted to show you the defensive abilities of having a shield, and the new beta shields are very good to have. Now if you are wearing a shield you're focusing on defensive, so you'll see that I'm not praying melee, but that's just because Bandos isn't as buffed up as he used to be, so his melee attack isn't that strong right now. But in the live game he should be stronger by the time this update is implemented into the live game. So I have 12 abilities in my hotbar. I'll list them in the description. And I might put annotations, but it might be kind of hard to read, but I'll just try and put that later when I have the time. I also have my ability book open because there just isn't enough space in the hotbar. So in my ability book, I have my ultimate, which is Rejuvenate. It'll heal me about 40% of my max life points. And I have it in my ability book because it's an ultimate. I don't use it that often, while I keep the basic attacks and my threshold abilities in my hotbar. So in PvM, so far there isn't really that much skills to it. You basically just use your best abilities when you can. You either focus on defensive abilities or offensive abilities. Although in PvP there is some skill to it because you gotta time some abilities so that it deals more damage to them. I'll probably do a video on that, on how to counter certain attacks. So there are 3 defensive ultimates. There's Barricade. It's not too important at Bandos because it's only good on if the monster has a high DPS. It protects you completely from all attacks for 10 seconds. There's Rejuvenate. It'll heal you 40% life points over a period of time. It's not instant heal, so you should use this as soon as you can. Although, if you're going to use Ultimate, you want to use all your threshold abilities if you can. If you're low on life points, you want to focus on Ultimate right away. But if you can tank it, just use all your threshold abilities before you use your Ultimate because it'll drain your bar all the way down. And the last Ultimate is Immortality. It has a fairly long duration. It lasts for 30 seconds. If you die, it'll instantly heal you for 40% HP. Now, this is a little more risky because you actually have to die for it to heal you. So, if you're at Bandos, when it's buffed up, just take off Prey Melee and let it hit you. But again, this is a little risky. So, you want to focus on 2 ultimates because you'll get your full adrenaline bar before your first ultimate cools down. So, for defensive thresholds, I have Reflect. It reflects 50% of the damage you receive back to whatever opponent it is for 10 seconds. So this is very good if somebody uses Slaughter on you in PvP because it reflects a whole lot of damage back to them. I'll cover this more when I'm covering PvP. Then there's Debilitate. It will reduce any damage you receive from whatever your target is by 50% for 10 seconds, which is very good because this stacks, I think it stacks with other damage reduction abilities. Then for your offensive ability, you want Slaughter because it's very useful. You just gotta hit them with the threshold and then make them move, and it'll hit them a whole lot harder. On Bandos, it hit about 990 each time for like 4 times. Then there's Assault. It'll deal 3 attacks over 6 seconds. It hits fairly well, and it's a threshold ability. But it's one of those attacks where if you use another ability, it will interrupt the threshold ability. So then you kind of waste it if you use another ability. So if you do use this, you want to make sure you wait the whole like 3 seconds or see the 3 hit splats before you start using a second ability. So I'll start on the left. I'm not covering the thresholds, but I'm covering the basic abilities now. There's Resonance. It'll heal you whatever you would have gotten hit. It doesn't work on non-combat damage like shadows when you're at Nex or the Ice Prison, but it's helpful for like, say maybe you're at Arma or Bandos, just drop your prayer real quick, turn on the resonance, and if you get hit high, you'll heal whatever it was. But it's kind of risky. It's more like if you get hit high, it's worth it, but if you don't, you kind of waste a little bit of food. Then there's Anticipation. It's a basic ability. 10% damage reduction for 10 seconds. Very useful. Just spam click it as much as you can. It doesn't even require a shield, which is great. Although Resonance does require a shield. Oh, I forgot to mention this earlier in the video. Rejuvenate, the one that heals you 40% over time, it's a defensive ultimate. It doesn't require a shield. Neither does Immortality, that revives you if you die for 40% HP. But Barricade does require a shield. So these are good defensive ultimates if you're really close to dying or you just want to heal. So then there is Preparation. It's an ability that goes alongside with Resonance. Each attack you get reduces the cooldown timer by 3 seconds. So it's just something you click on if you don't have any abilities to click. Then I have Backhand. It's a very good ability for God Wars because since God War monsters are immune to stuns, they get hit by 300% of your weapon damage, which is very good if you have like a maul or even just a whip. The one after that is Punish. It hits a little higher if they're stunned, although this isn't too It's not as effective in God Wars since they can't be stunned, but it still does like 125% weapon damage, and it's just a basic ability that you can use. After that is Slice. It's a basic attack, 10% greater damage. It's more of just damage. For my 8th ability on my bar, I have Sever. The main part that's good about this is it offers a 10% damage reduction for any damage your opponent does to you, although it only works on one target. And for my last one, I have Dismember. It deals damage over time equal to 200% of your weapon damage over 6 seconds. But the good thing about this is you can actually use another ability because even if you use another ability, it keeps on hitting. So that really covers most of the abilities. I really wish there's a few more that I could put in there, but there just isn't enough space on the ability bar. I wish either they had more abilities on it or make it so you could hide certain abilities on your book because there's just too much to scroll through, and often some of them require like dual wielding or 2H weapons, and if you're wearing a shield you don't have access to that. So that's all for this video. After about like a minute 30 seconds in, I started clicking on the actual abilities. That's because I wanted to show you what I was actually using, because if I used the keys you wouldn't actually be able to see that. So thank you very much for watching and have a nice day.